Well, very interesting choice, more especially after a week or 2 weeks where it all looked like, and most had unveiled Benny McCarthy as the next Bafana Bafana coach. So Hugo Broos, the coach, claimed to fame on the continent, having coached Cameroon to an AFCON title in Gabon in 2017 with a youthful and a second string team after they couldn't get their more than 8 stars in the team. And also I think it's also not the first time that he had been shortlisted for this job in South Africa. You will recall in 2018 he was also in the mix together with Carlos Quiroz and Javier Renard, but at the end they ended up going for Stuart Baxter, who was not shortlisted. I've seen people calling him a plumber. I think maybe we have to go and redefine the word plumber and check it. And I think maybe it's also the opportune time to look back, because I remember I was in Durban. Jondi was also there when the late Stephen Keshi first started to talk about the word plumber. So I'm not sure, maybe a coach who's won an AFCON also qualifies to be called a plumber. I think maybe the people who unveiled Benny can answer that question, because both Benny and Hugo Broos were interviewed last week. And yes, I think it's also the right thing to reveal that before them there had also been negotiations with Coach Pitso, obviously, which were not successful. So today, with the announcement of Hugo Broos, I think what one has also gathered is that Benny's demands were out of this, there were some demands which was said to be too much for the FA. As I think, as you'll understand, that when it comes to the national team, especially at SAFA, the assistant coach, the goalkeeper coach, the fitness trainer, you count all of them, they all come as part-time. Maybe with the exception of just one assistant coach, but also that assistant coach should be, as we've seen in the times of Shakes Mashaba, he must be a junior national team coach as well. So it's just we don't have something official and on the record, but from what I've heard in the last 24 hours, maybe the demands of Coach Benny's management team were just too much. Yeah, and I think this is the unfortunate part, because look, I had started warming up to the idea maybe of him being a national team coach based on what was being said. But also, I had been communicating and I was listening and getting the story that he is not the only one in the race. And he was up against an AFCON winner. You understand? And a well-traveled coach. So I think sometimes, I think in a way, we must not talk as if there was an official announcement that Coach Benny was the coach when there's another coach who was in the running. Because I think this is where it gets lost. And I think we have to be realistic here. 4 of the last 5 Bafana Bafana coaches have been local coaches. And one foreign coach who was there is the one who took Bafana the furthest in the AFCON, Stuart Baxter. So I understand all these sentiments that we have sometimes, And for me, I think, as much as I would have loved to see Coach Pitso being Bafana Bafana coach, the reality now is Hugo Broos is the coach. And I'm looking forward to see Coach Benny taking Amazulu to the African Champions League. And maybe this is what he needed. This is an opportunity that he needed to go and prove himself at that stage, because I think he will learn a lot there. We all know that Coach Benny has got ambitions of going back to Europe, and maybe coming to Bafana would have fast-tracked that progress for him at international level, But I think the timing is still perfect for me, for him to finish well in the league, qualify for the Champions League, and go and take Amazulu to the group stages, because the group stages exposes him nicely at that level. And also, I think for me, it's important to know that we have not just appointed anybody, it's not just anyone that we've appointed. We've appointed a coach who was also in demand. Last week came very close. In fact, I think until the announcement today, DRC were waiting because they had a contract ready to sign him as their new coach ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. And also Raja Casablanca, the team that is playing Orlando Pirates, the team that was unbeaten in the group stages of the CAF Confed, produced 6 clean sheets in Morocco. This was also their number 1 candidate, So it tells you. I think one of the things we need to do, maybe going forward, we need to educate our people more on African football, and so that these things are known. Yes, you will say maybe he's been inactive since he was at Oldstende in 2019, but it doesn't mean that he's a nobody. But also, people want the team to qualify, and people want Bafana Bafana also to be transformed. So once the job starts, the honeymoon will be over.